I'm the usher.
Yeah.
Text me or whatever. But no, the only people who have said they had trouble hearing was in person. So we do need to upgrade because we have a lot of people with hearing aids.
Yes.
Hi, Molly.
Yes, we do.
This is Denise. She's new.
Hi.
She just moved in here in August.
Oh, wow.
But then no one went anywhere after that.
I just moved here in July.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's just trying to meet people. So
Yeah.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Would love to talk to you after the service more.
Great.
Glad you're here.
So give me a keychain.
Yeah.
So this you don't have to
You're
show
in.
Your COVID,
Yeah.
COVID vaccine.
The Bay Area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How about you?
From Houston.
Oh.
I'm originally from Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But
Okay.
most recently from Houston.
Well, welcome.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Good.
I look forward to going to services for a while.
Yeah. I know. Hi, Shabbat Shalom. I'm so happy so many people are here. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. 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 This has two parts, and now we can actually harmonize with each other, which is great. So, if you want to do the other part, or if you want to stick with that part, whatever suits your fancy. As long as you're singing, it's amazing. Oh my gosh. Shabbat Shalom. Umevorah. Shabbat Shalom. Umevorah. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Oh, so amazing. And Shabbat Shalom to everybody who is joining us via live stream. So glad that you're all here. I want to start with a poem for Shabbat that is from the Covenant of the Spirit. I don't know if anyone has this book. It's a wonderful Women of Reformed Judaism book of different prayers and blessings. It's called Looking Toward Shabbat. The week is done. I washed 7 loads of laundry. I filed 15 briefs with the courts. I prepared 21 meals. I listened to 30 customer complaints. I carried 60 pounds of groceries. I graded 100 spelling tests. I drove 200 miles in carpools. I dried buckets of tears. All my hours have been used up by others' needs, others' demands, others' priorities. When the week is done and I light the Shabbat candles, my time begins. I take a deep breath and let go. I embrace the peace of Shabbat, standing with the people who came before me and those who will follow. The candle's flames draw me in, allowing me to lay down the burdens of the week in order to restore and refresh my soul. This is my time to take in Shabbat and keep it with me for the rest of the week, giving me strength to wash 7 loads of laundry, file 15 briefs with the courts, prepare 21 meals. We are going to begin our service with lighting of our candles, our Shabbat candles up here, and I'd like to invite up Janice and Marshall when he comes back. He's helping me by getting me another microphone. And our candle blessing is on page 2 in our prayer book. And we'll join together. Thanks, Marshall. There's no mic. Okay. Yeah. It's okay. It's all right. Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Thank you. And before we join together in the Kiddush, which is on page 5, I want to take a moment to see if anybody has any simchas, anything that you're celebrating this week. And if you do, if you could please share it as loudly as possible without damaging your neighbor's ears, because we want everyone on the live stream to hear as well. And we apparently don't have a mic to hand around. That's okay. We're loud people, right? Yeah, Adrian. Yay! Welcome. So happy you're here. Both of you. Yeah.
My husband retired this week.
Wow! Oh my goodness. Mazel tov. That's wonderful. Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Glad to hear that. Successful hip operation. Oh, Tim, yeah.
We're here without masks, and we're here singing to the full.
Yes. Amen. Can I do a simcha in advance? Next Wednesday, we're going up to Camp Kalsman. It'll be my kids, Alice and Mila's first time at camp, and I'm so excited. I know they're going to have an amazing time. It'll be first of many, many years going to camp. Anyone else? Yeah, Donna. Wow, wonderful. Where does she live? Where are you going? Minneapolis. Wow. Yes, I do. Yay. Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. Great. So many simchas. Awesome. I know. Okay. All right. Keeping all of our joyous events in mind, we join together in the Kiddush over our wine or grape juice. Let's join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Borei Peri Hagafen, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahavahu v'ratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron l'ma'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom tehillah, lemikra ekadesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'chata, v'yotanu kidashta, mikol hamim, v'shabat kodshecha, v'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. L'chaim. All right, we're going to continue with our Kabbalat Shabbat service. We'll turn now to the first psalm of our Kabbalat Shabbat service. Nope, second psalm on page 13. Shir Chadash. Shir Ladonai, Shir Chadash. Thank you. It's fun. There we go. I'll have to, after each prayer, I'll move slightly. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai Shir Chadash, Shiru Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai Shir Chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll sing along, all the earth, a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai Shir Chadash, Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai Shir Chadash. We'll continue now with L'chado D, taking some time to welcome in the spirit of Shabbat, whatever that means for you. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before, that my dear friend, Rabbi Callie, over at Temple B'nai Torah, that we had for many years, I think since we were teenagers, there's the Kabbalistic story that on Shabbat, when you sing L'chado D, you gain an extra soul. So we have a tradition of naming our extra souls as a way of just sort of like noticing what we're feeling that Shabbat, who's with us. So I don't know, as we sing L'chado D, if you get a sense of which extra soul you've got this weekend, let me know afterwards. Hopefully it's a good one. I don't know. So Lechato D is on pages 20 and 21, and we join together in verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. When we get to verse 9, you are welcome to, if you are able, to rise and face the entrance to our sanctuary. Lechato D, likakala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela. Lechato Di, likakala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Yishmiyanu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'livchila. Lechato Di, likakala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela. Lechato Di, likakala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela. Likra Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki makor habracha, Merosh mikadam nesucha, Sof ma'aseh v'machshava tehila. Lechato Di, likakala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela. Lechato Di, likakala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela. Hitorari, hitorari, kiva ore kumiori, uri uri shir daberi, kivod Adonai alayich nigla. Lechato Di, likakala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela. Lechato Di, likakala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom haterepala, Gam besimcha uv'sohola, Toch emunei am segula. Boi kala, Lechato Di, likakala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela. Lechato Di, likakala, B'nai Shabbat nekabela. We have welcomed in the Sabbath bride. We have not been in this space together in a long time, many of us. So let's just take a few moments to turn to the people next to you. Make sure you know each other. Say Shabbat Shalom. If you're joining us virtually, make sure you know the people you're sitting next to as well. And we'll come back together in a minute. And we're going to come back together, and you can remain standing. We're going to join together on page 28 for the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. Page 28. Yai lai lai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai. Baruch Adonai Mevarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Mevarach Le'olam Va'ed. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. You can all be seated. We are going to turn to page 30 for Ma'ariv Aravim, our prayer, our blessing, really, acknowledging the changing of the seasons and the way that nature ebbs and flows. Let's join together in the English translation of the blessing at the bottom of page 30. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the season, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are the creator of day and night, darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening. Baruch atah Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim. We turn one page to Ahavat Olam, giving thanks to God for the gift of Torah, the way that God shows God's love for us by giving us this incredible gift full of guide for ways of living, stories to learn from. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Otanu limadeta Akein Adonai Eloheinu b'shokbeinu V'kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki hem hayenu V'yorech yameinu Uvahem negei yomam v'layla negei yomam v'layla Ve'ahavatcha tasir Mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema is on the next page. You can get lost in the music for an hour, honey. You can get lost in a room. We can play music for hours and hours. The sun will still be coming up soon. The world's just spinning a little too fast. If things don't slow down soon, they might not last. So just for a moment, let's be still. get lost in the music for hours, honey. You can get lost in a room. We can play music for hours and hours, but the sun will still be coming up soon. The world's not forgiving of everyone's fears. The days turn into months, the months turn into years. So just for a moment, just for one moment, just for a moment, let's be still. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leota yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam amzuzo beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kadoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem meretz Mitzrayim liyod lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. Let's read the poem on page 37 together. Please join with me. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you're rested. Let them guide the works of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Leave them at the doorpost of your house, outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. Mi Chamocha is on page 40. And this is a version of Mi Chamocha. It's a beautiful melody written by Mark Lipson, which I'm sure that Cantor David has done. But I know we have not done it in the last year. But to me, it evokes, for anyone who's musical, it's in 6/8, and it evokes what I imagine it may have felt like on the edge of the sea on the other side. I think it's a beautiful melody. Mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi chamocha arba kodesh, nora tekilot, osefele, nora tehilot, osefele, malchutecha, ra'uvanecha, bokeyam, lifnei Moshe, Seli, Seli, anu ve'ameru, Adonai yimlo le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimlo le'olam va'ed, va'ed, Adonai yimlo le'olam va'ed. We move from Micha Mocha, our prayer of redemption, our prayer of our song of gratitude for freedom, to Hashkivenu, asking for God to offer protection over us, because oftentimes freedom can be scary. Having things be too open can be frightening, and so just almost in the same breath as we thank God for the ability to have agency, we also ask God to help guide us in that and keep us safe. So Hashkivenu is on page 42. Which Hashkivenu, Janice, do you like better? The Dan Nichols one. I can't decide which one to do. Or the Mata Vu one. Okay. Great. That's what I was going to do. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom Hamidenu Shomrenu L'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom Hamidenu Shomrenu L'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom L'Hamidenu Shomrenu L'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom L'Hamidenu Shomrenu L'chaim. We move now from our Ma'ariv prayers, our evening prayers that are part of the blessings surrounding the Shema, into the Amidah, which begins on page 46, and we start together with the words from the Psalm and continue on in our communal prayer, and then after that we have some time for our own silent meditation, silent prayer. So we'll join together. If you're able, please rise, and we'll join together on page 46. Adonai, open up my lips, that my sorry. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare my praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Hastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevik Ula Lifnei V'nehem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol atah Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatah, Mechakel Chayim Bechesed, Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Nelfim Verafech Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Bagivurot, Umido Melech, Melech Mimit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'emanata l'hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh ha'akol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'akadosh. Shalom, B'mama, Ose Shalom, B'mama, Hu Ya'aseh, Hu Ya'aseh, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Hu Ya'aseh, Hu Ya'aseh, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom. Hu Yaseh, Hu Yaseh, Hu Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the Uyase shalom. Hallelujah. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. I'm going to keep my guitar on because I feel like if I try to take it off, it's just all going to fall apart. So, oh boy. King Solomon was one of David's sons, and he became the king of Israel around the 10th century BCE after the death of King David. Now, King Solomon's primary assistant was a general whose name was Benaiah ben Yehoiada. It's a mouthful. King Solomon relied heavily on his assistant, as you can imagine, and as a result, Benaiah, his assistant, was quite proud of himself. He would tell anyone who would listen that he was the primary assistant and how much King Solomon counted on him. Whenever the king wanted something, he was there. He got it. He was really great, but it actually was kind of annoying that he was so boisterous about it. And people started talking about how Benaiah was a little too proud, a little too sure of himself. But it was true, the king did depend on him. The king had confidence that if he asked for something, Benaiah would come through. He would get it done fast. But even King Solomon started to look at him and think, you know what? I might need to take Benaiah down a notch a little bit. He's a little too proud of his relationship, his association with me. He brags a little too much about it. So King Solomon knew that Benaiah would do anything for him, and so that Passover, King Solomon turned to Benaiah at the Seder and he said, Benaiah, you are my most faithful servant. Absolutely, Benaiah replied. He was aglow with pride. Well, there's something that I don't have that I want, the king said. Now, the king was known for owning everything. He was the king. So when he said that, everybody you can imagine at the Seder table was like, oh, there's something you don't own? There's something the king doesn't have? And Benaiah responded, oh, ask me anything. Whatever it is, I'll get it for you. And the king said, I'm told that there's a magic ring. It's a magic ring that makes a sad person happy and a happy person sad. Well, Benaiah said, if such a ring exists, I will find it and I will bring it to you. I hear it does exist, the king said. So the king had heard about this ring, but he didn't actually believe that it existed. So he figured he was sending Benaiah out on an errand that he wouldn't possibly be able to fulfill. So he says, I hear it does exist, and you know what? It's Passover now. How about I'll give you till Sukkot, that's roughly 6 months, to get me that ring. So Passover came to an end, and Benaiah went out into the Jerusalem marketplace, and he began to ask about this ring. Anywhere he could go, he would go to the goldsmiths, to the silversmiths, anyone who dealt jewelry, to craftsmen, any merchant he could find. He would say, I am Benaiah. I work for the king, and I have the most important task. I need this ring for the king. It's a magic ring. It's a ring that makes a happy person sad and a sad person happy. But none of these people, the goldsmiths, the silversmiths, the merchants, the jewelry vendors, none of them had heard of such a ring. So Benaiah was disappointed. He thought it would be an easy task. He was kind of surprised, like, okay, this isn't going to be as easy as I thought it was going to be. But I'm Benaiah, I can do this. So he left Jerusalem and he kept searching all over the other towns in Israel. He would go to all the cities, he would ask all the merchants, and at every single place, they would say, sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. Never heard of such a ring. So Benaiah, he was feeling like, okay, things are getting a little stressful, but he kept searching. Anytime a ship would come into harbor, he would ask the ships. He would meet with the sailors. None of them knew about each ring, but they all promised, they all wanted to help the king. So if any of them heard of such a ring or found such a ring, they would be sure to contact Benaiah. But now it was getting closer to Sukkot. Benaiah was getting a little bit concerned that he wasn't going to be able to find this magic ring. And he was getting desperate. So the morning before Sukkot began, and one more day, Benaiah decided to give it one last try. So very, very early in the morning, before the merchants had set out all of their jewelry and everything in front of the stores. If you've ever been to Jerusalem, you know sort of that marketplace as it opens up. Before anyone opened up in the marketplace, he went into the city, and he went and stood right outside the shops. And as each one opened, he was the first one in there, went from stall to stall. I came to you 6 months ago looking for this ring. Have you found it? Have you found it? Have you found it? No, 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 no. And then Benaiah spotted a boy who was setting rings out on a carpet. And he approached the boy and explained that he was looking for this special ring that would make a sad person happy and a happy person sad. It's for the king. Can you help me? Please, I'm desperate, he said. You name your price. I'll give it to you, whatever it is. But the boy just looked at Benaiah and said, I would love to help you, but I don't know of any such ring. I'm sorry. So Benaiah, with his head down, started to walk away. But then there was this old man who was sitting in the corner, and he raised his hand and motioned to the boy. And the boy went over to him, listened to the old man whispering, and then he went back and he called after Benaiah, wait, come back, please, come back, just a moment. My grandfather here wants you to have this ring to give to the king. And he went to the place on the carpet where all the rings were displayed, and he picked up a gold ring, and he very quickly engraved something on it. And Benaiah looked at the ring, and he smiled. He took out his purse, and he emptied all the gold coins into the boy's hand. This is perfect, Benaiah said. Thank you so much. You have saved me. And he ran back to the palace to prepare for Sukkot, for the dinner. So that evening, the dinner came, and King Solomon, the whole court was gathered around, and the king was ready to see Benaiah be a little bit embarrassed that he wasn't able to get this ring, because he was sure that Benaiah wouldn't have been able to get this ring. So he was thinking over, what am I going to say? I'm sure you've all been in those situations where you're like preparing what you want to say. And he's thinking, okay, I'm going to say something like, Benaiah, buddy, you got a little too proud of yourself. So over these months since Passover, you've been in search of a ring that doesn't actually exist. And the king was all excited to say this, teach Benaiah an important life lesson. So during dinner, he turns to Benaiah and says, 6 months ago, I gave you an important task. And the king was about to continue when Benaiah jumped in and said, yes, I know, and I've completed the task. And King Solomon, in all his wisdom, he was astonished. You did? You actually completed the task? And Benaiah said, yes, just this morning. And he put his hand in his pocket, and he pulled out a ring. And on that ring were 3 letters that were engraved. Does anyone know what they are? In Hebrew, they were Gimel, Zion, Yud, Gam Zeyavor, which means this too shall pass. And he explained it to the king. And almost immediately, King Solomon, who had all the riches in the world and all the wisdom, he became very sad because he saw this ring. He read the 3 letters, knew the message, and realized that even he, the great King Solomon, one day his riches would disappear. He too would become dust and ashes one day because he's human just like everybody else. And despite being king, he was another person just like everybody else. And his flesh and blood. And he looked at that ring again, and he realized that it was exactly the ring that he had asked for. It was a ring that could make a happy person sad, because it predicts that a great situation will not necessarily last, but this too shall pass. It also can make a sad person happy, because it tells you that the situation you're in can change if it's a bad situation. So he looks at his hand, and on his finger he had a signet ring with a precious stone, and he takes it off and gives it to Benaiah and says, "Here, from now on, this is yours." And he placed that new ring on his hand, and he would always look at that ring and know that he, King Solomon, with all the riches and all the wisdom, was just like everybody else, flesh and blood, and a servant of God. This Shabbat, we are coming closer to the end of the book of Numbers. Blessedly for some people. Not everybody likes the book of Numbers. Closer to the end of this journey, the wandering that we've had through the wilderness in search of the promised land. And we also know that at the end of this journey, it comes the end of Moses' life. We have a whole other book, but really that book is its own sort of special recap of what the Israelites have been through with Moses. It's Moses' farewell speech. So we know we're coming close to the end of Moses' life. And it was just a few weeks ago that we had read Parshat Hukat, just 2 weeks ago, when we read the story of Moses striking the rock. And in that story, Moses is sentenced to die without entering the promised land. Moses is a respected leader of the people, and he's the person closest to God. He's the person who led the Israelites out of slavery into freedom. He guided the Israelites to become a nation with laws and systems. And now Moses, even Moses, has to confront the finality of God's decision, that his role as the leader of the Jewish people is going to be coming to an end. I can't imagine the pain that Moses might be feeling in this section of the Torah. I can imagine that there would be some resentment and indignation, because after all, Moses is Moses, right? And I could totally see him protesting and saying, but they need me. I'm Moses. I'm their leader. They need me. But when I was reading the Torah portion this week, something really struck me. There was a line that really pointed out to me Moses' humility. So after the story of Zelophehad, where they're talking about land ownership, God tells Moses to ascend the mountain, and he says to Moses, "Ascend the mountain of Avirim and view the land that I have given to the Israelite people. When you have seen it, you too shall be gathered to your kin, just as your brother Aaron was. For in the wilderness of Zin, when the community was contentious, you disobeyed my command to uphold my sanctity in their sight by means of the water." So basically, God is saying to Moses, go up on the mountain and look at the place where you're not going to get to go because you're being punished and you're not going to live. You have to die. So again, I can think of many ways that I would probably respond if I were Moses. But does anyone know what he says? He says to God, "God, source of the breath of all flesh, appoint someone over the community who shall go out before them and come in before them, and who shall take them out and bring them in, so that Adonai's community may not be like sheep that have no shepherd." This part really struck me, because he doesn't argue. I mean, he's already done some arguing. He doesn't argue that God should let him live or that the people need him. And he doesn't even insist that he needs to be part of picking his replacement or be involved in that leadership transition, because, again, he's Moses, and you would think he knows best what these people need. But he in that moment recognizes that his tenure as a leader is over. It's coming to an end. And the number one thing that he is thinking about is his concern for the well-being of the people in the future, moving forward, making sure that they have what they need. And again, it's not him saying, let me make sure to pick the next person because I know best. But he says to God, God, you're the source of all flesh. Appoint someone for this community. Make sure they have a new leader so that they're not like sheep with no shepherd. So I imagine that we all have different roles in our lives that we think of ourselves as like the most important or irreplaceable. How could this organization, my kids, whatever it is, my parents, they need me. But once again, I think Moses here models a really important leadership message for all of us, that no matter who we are or how great we are, that there's always going to come a time when there's always going to be a moment when there's time for us to step back and make room for other people, for someone else. And the message of the ring, this too shall pass, gam ze yavor, can be a humbling reminder that when things are going great, that something eventually will bring pain into our lives, and that can be difficult to handle. But on the flip side, the message can be a source of strength and resilience in moments of pain. So wherever you are this Shabbat, may the reminder that this too shall pass help you find a little more shalom, a little more peace and wholeness. Shabbat shalom. We are going to take this moment before we turn to our concluding prayers. We take a moment to say our Mishaberach prayer together, our prayer asking for strength and for comfort and for healing for our loved ones who are struggling. And our Mishaberach prayer is in the middle of page 253, I believe. Yep, 253. This Shabbat, as a community, we are praying for Valentina Darakovsky, Azrael Early, Rohanna Early, Myra Masig, Patricia Shapiro, Orly Sherman, Amy Thornton, Deborah Newman-Ziskastengay, Lindsay Robinson, Laura Armstrong, Stacy Hetzel, Diane Turner, Jacqueline Tara Smith, Deborah Rose, Liliana Oxsmith, Phil Grinker, Eileen Kreisman, Ronnie Haber, Sherry Schnabel, Carlene Ackerman, Mary Wilhite, Ann Bernstein, David Green, Margaret Nichols, Philip Oringer, Vadim Barzam, and Michael Kozlerich. If there's anybody who you're thinking of the Shabbat, you want to add their name to our list for Mishaberach, please go ahead and say their name nice and loud. Say it again. Yael Lister. Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. Let's join together in our prayer for healing, page 253. Mishaberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. May God swiftly send all of our loved ones a complete healing of body, and spirit. We say together, Amen. We turn now to our concluding prayers, beginning with Aleinu on page 282. We'll join together at the bottom of page 282, and please rise if you are able. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tet gdula le'otzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, וגורלנו כחומנם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Can all be seated? Turn now to page 294 for Mourner's Kaddish as we think of our loved ones that we have lost either recently or at this time in years past. And before I read our congregational Kaddish list, is there anybody here who's saying Kaddish for a loved one tonight? If you are, if you wouldn't mind sharing the name of the person you're remembering, in your relationship to them, and if you want to share a sentence or two about that person, that's great too.
Honor my brother, Stephen Asher, who died last Saturday in Washington, D.C. He was the one person who knew me longer than anybody else. He knew me the whole thing. And I feel very blessed because he'd been ill with leukemia. And I got back to see him several times since vaccination made that possible. And we just had the best week a week ago. We had such a wonderful time together. And I guess if there's a takeaway, it's if there's somebody you've been thinking you better see and would like to reconnect with, tomorrow will be good.
Yeah.
Tonight will be better.
Thank you. What a blessing.
That's my worship.
Thank you. Glad you're here.
My family and I are mourning Daniel Weiner, who was one of our son's dear friends, but who had endeared himself to our whole family. He was a mensch. He taught me about Musar. Said, Amy, you need to check this out. Just such a dear soul, integral, almost a family person, and died tragically in a climbing accident.
I'm here to honor my husband, Edward Shane, who passed away June 10th. We were married for 27 years.
Thank you, Connie. This Shabbat as a congregation, as Connie and Larry mentioned, we're mourning the recent loss of Ed Shane and Stephen Lewis Asher. And we are also observing the yahrzeits this Shabbat of Ernie Aarons, Samuel Aaron, Ruth Coombs, Mario Fort, Lillian Gersman, Tressa Gervin, Muriel Ella Jones, Daniel Coffer, Julie Kreisman, Esther Levy, Keith Marks, James McGinnis, Eleanor Morris, Lewis Morris, Harry Pass, Lorraine Shupak, Philip E. Seltzer, Martha Steiner, Harry Tall, Hilda Weil, and Louis Weinberg Jr. We join together in support of our mourners by rising and standing with them if you are able, and we join together the words of Kaddish on page 294. Vitkadal vitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim alinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom mimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to Israel, to the whole world. And we say together, amen. You can go ahead and be seated. Oseh shalom mimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Before we do our closing song, I remembered Amy. Yeah.
My name is Amy McGinnis. You've got the mic.
Do you want it?
And Amy McGinnis, it's a pleasure to welcome you and to see your faces tonight. A pleasure to welcome people joining us with live stream as well. What a joy. We will not take this for granted again to be together. And our hearts go out to those who are mourning tonight, to those who are celebrating, and to those of us who are doing both, because that's life. But it's all better in community, and it's just delightful to have you here. Rabbi Molly, thank you for a wonderful, wonderful service. I just have to give a plug. Her installation is coming up November 5th and 6th. Mark your calendars now. Be here. We're going to show you our love then, and especially not waiting until then, but especially then. I invite you to check the weekly email for all the events that are happening. There is a variety in person and online, and I just want to highlight one in particular because I remembered to bring the book. So the Jewish History Book Club meets every 6 weeks or so. Their next book is Foundations of Sephardic Spirituality, which looks quite good. The Inner Life of Jews of the Ottoman Empire. The discussion night, and this is on Zoom, is Tuesday at the end of this month. I think it's the 27th. People are always welcome to join. You don't have to be a regular. If you see the book and it looks good, join. You'd be most welcome. So, Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. And in 2 weeks, Karen, do you want to say something about the Get Some More Shabbat?
I guess so.
Just stand up. Who are you, Karen?
I am Karen Balkin, and I'm the chair of the membership committee. And
Woohoo.
we are going to be having our annual Get S'more Shabbat in the park. So we're going to have a big
16th. Yep.
I forgot to announce the best news of all of the day, which is that Tent City is allowed to stay
Woohoo!
another 90 days. So they'll be with us through until early October, I think. So,
Yay. Awesome.
to us and them.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Okay. We're going to end with something easy peasy that I think is on page 353 if you want the words. It is at the bottom. Ojivo, shalom aleinu. Peace will surely come to us. Ojivo, shalom aleinu. Ojivo, shalom aleinu. Ojivo, shalom aleinu. Ve'akulam. Ojivo, shalom aleinu. Ojivo, shalom aleinu. Ojivo, shalom aleinu. Ve'akulam. Salam aleinu ve'akolam. Salam, salam. Salam aleinu ve'akolam. Salam, salam. Odivo shalom aleinu. Odivo shalom aleinu. Odivo shalom aleinu ve'akulam. Odivo shalom aleinu. Odivo shalom aleinu. Odivo shalom aleinu ve'akulam. Shabbat shalom, everybody. We have challah, and I see that somehow magically a little oneg was set up. We weren't sure if that was going to be for tonight or for tomorrow. It's at least for now, it's for tonight. So let's join together in Hamotzi. Please join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. B'te'avon. If you are here in person, you're welcome to join us for some schmoozing and some food. And if you're at home, Shabbat Shalom. Hope you have a nice oneg at your house. All right, Shabbat Shalom.